Good morning and welcome to today's live show. If you're here on YouTube and you want some more live streams, we are doing the Power Hour closing stream over on Rumble, and the link will be down there or in the chat. So I'll put it in the description as well, so that has changed. But come join us over there for a closing stream. Today, though, we have some stuff to get into as we're seeing this get the really big first test when you come out to the daily chart. This is the very obvious level that we need to get through in order to continue some positivity here. So if we see any resistance in this area, we can go all the way up to the price point of 579.98 or 580, which is a key level. But we want to be paying attention to those shorter time frames and see if we get any kind of reversal signal in here. Just remember that for the time being, I think you do have a good prospect, good probability of seeing squeeze happen. But I think you could see that flush out kind of moment first, maybe even a deep one. So we'll be watching for that, looking at this gap, looking at this upside, seeing if we're going to potentially squeeze even further here today. Very nice, though, to see us coming back in those monthly expected moves. Very nice, and really, it's starting to gear up more and more. We're building so much liquidity at the low. We can turn down one more time, and then after that, we might see a rip and roar up to like 600 or something like that, but I'll be watching 585 closely. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. Everyone got their plan for the day, maybe updated from yesterday. That's always a good idea. Maybe while you're chilling here in the morning with us, you could give a like to the stream. That would be awesome. We don't have weeklies for Netflix, unfortunately. I would look at the percentage move. I would look at the percentage move for Monday, and then take a raw estimate as to like, hey, what do you think? Do you think that thing's out of the move or not? And then you just have to know, hey, you can still trade something without these data points, but I think you're seeing how without these little data points, how much easier they make the trade. I think that's what you're noticing. If you had these for Netflix, well, it would be a really useful thing, I assume. Remy, good morning. I hope you're doing all right out there. Volatility did see some kind of 2-hour cross up, but we're noticing that it is falling off one more time. Maybe to get down to my 1683. That is where I normally will first be looking for those reversal signals, but we'll have to pay attention. So if this is going to be a pullback, then I assume we'd use something like 1683, which means the SPY still might go in the upward direction first, and then we'll see if something bad ends up happening by the end of the day. I still believe if we're going to get this kind of pullback, you would want to see that in the next like today or tomorrow, and then after that, you want to be done with it. Yeah, GameStop's good. GameStop actually originally it was better. Originally GameStop was Not muted. I'm trying to fix it, guys. I understand. If someone says no sound 3 times and then I'm quiet for a while, I'm trying to fix it because it was all choppy. All right, we're good though. Thank you. I know. GME is just doing the crazy thing and it could make structure to head up. That's pretty much as simple as it gets. It's doing the crazy thing and that's great. No, you're good. It's just, I'm like, trust me. I know. I was just putting it over on the spy so you guys could see in case it lasted for a bit of time. I was unplugging my mic and making sure it was all good because I noticed in the meter here it was really skipping around. No, Lewis, we will not be doing that. No, thank you. Here's the best way, and if you I really highly suggest if you have this mentality and you stare at charts all day, man, reading that book, man, it's just like solidifying everything I think about markets, which is like position trading is better in general, and you get to walk away from your computer. Because at the end of the day, you can be fooled by everything going on in here, but are you just ending up in these areas later on? And that's the easy bet to make, right? It's hard to bet like this is going to go to here in 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. It's much easier to say this will go to here in the next 2 months. I'm starting to really think about that type of stuff. So if you're thinking about, and the reason I'm talking about that is because GME, right? I assume that you're asking a bunch of questions and a bunch of people will show up today saying, is this the squeeze? Are we going to squeeze? Is this the moment where I can buy contracts for Friday and get rich quick? If GME is going to squeeze, well then, all you have to do is say, hey, $22 was pretty cheap. I think eventually, maybe in the next 5 years, it might be worth more than $100. You can see one of my targets at 129. And if I do that, I can sit there and not look at stocks at all and then have an alert for if that ever hits $100, if that's the goal with the trade. You can pay attention to the nonsense going on down here, or you can just make a decision that won't stress you out nearly as much. GME is pretty simple. If it keeps going up, that's a good thing. These are the signals that are holding it up, and it just got good news, so good chance, but still can make structure. As far as will it go up further this week? Don't really care, right? If you're holding on to the stock, then you don't really care if it's this week. Like I said, okay, so if I had, let's say I had $100,000 at $22. That goes to about $100. Okay, so we'll say 5 times. So that would be like a 5 times if I was holding on to the stock and went to $100, $500,000. Okay, awesome. Would I care? What if I told you this? It could happen now, or it might happen in 3 years. Does anything change? Right? What if this doesn't squeeze totally, but goes up to 50 to 47 and sits up here forever? But you said, it's not going to happen for 3 years, so. And then it starts to go up later on. And then it starts to go up later on. Like, really simplifying it here is the simple way with GME. I know everyone wants to do an option. Hey, use your skills that you see fit. This is a great signal. We saw the signal. We saw the signal from AMC before the earnings. Takes back the 200. Good signals to the upside. Okay. I don't play earnings, but hey, that's me. It's good news, guys. It's good news. And if you're someone who's just invested in the stock and not trying to make really quick, really big money, then I think you'll probably be better off in the long run with that one. I think that's the better way to talk about GME these days. Might cash out tonight. Like I said, if you paid attention at the lows, right, we were all pointing towards squeezes down in these areas. So GME was no different. AMC was no different. AMC seeing a little bit, GME seeing a lot of it, and that's great. My thoughts on GME having Bitcoin reserves? Could that have? I don't know, to be totally honest. I really don't know what these. I guess they'll be affected by Bitcoin if Bitcoin goes down, right? That's all I can see really. If Bitcoin goes up, maybe that benefits them because that's tied to them now. But other than that, I don't know what happens in that case. Thought it was a meme. No, Lion, it's a regular stock just like everything else. It has employees, has employers, has a CEO, has a bunch of cash on hand, probably more cash than most of the stocks that you trade every single day. What they do with the cash, okay, cool. Businesses can have a bunch of money and do all these things and do the wrong moves and oh darn. But right now it's sitting in a good spot, so I wouldn't call it a meme at this point. A meme stock probably shouldn't have more cash on hand than most companies out there. Yeah, it could be another MSTR. It just depends. But I don't know. I don't know what they'll really be, you know? Because as an Australian investor starting out, I didn't know how to access American markets. Yeah, that learning curve probably got you a little bit. Yeah, like I hate that people call AMC a meme stock. I have friends that or I know people that work at AMC. If you really if you're a retail person and you're really saying like short it, it's terrible, it's the worst, you're asking for people to go unemployed. And a lot of people that started working there are older people because they have to go back to work now. So I'm just saying you really shouldn't even be calling them meme stocks. Like I get it. I think meme coins makes a lot more sense. Where are the employees? Like that makes a lot of sense, but kind of tired of people, just calling something a meme, whatever. It's a company with employees trying to do business moves. That's it. Maybe sometimes they make bad decisions. That happens all the time. I just think that people need to understand if you're rooting for the demise of any company, you're rooting for people to lose their jobs. So just, do what's best for you and try not to affect other people. Hey, if the company is going to go through hardship, there's nothing wrong with shorting a company. Perfectly fine. I think it's fine to do. It's just don't sit there and celebrate the demise of something for no reason. You have no reason to celebrate it. That Squeeze Habit was a manager at the Spring Mobile store. Yeah, it's cool. Our GameStop went away. They closed down our GameStop here. I was sad, but I could understand why. Its location is it's good, but we have just a terrible mall. But hey, someone got on the news and Elon retweeted that someone near us keyed the crap out of a Tesla that belonged to a disabled woman. Man, that whole go green thing just kind of flew out the window, didn't it? I love that tweet. Oh, that's funny. Most malls in America are dying. I think they should change them. I think they should make them slightly into event spaces in some sort, right? More like that exciting market type vibe. You have like performances or something going on over here. I like the fact that our mall actually has it finally got some like gaming place in it. So we can go and do a bunch of like carnival games and stuff like that. Like that's really cool. I think that's the kind of stuff you need more of. Yeah, or invite, I think they really vet the type of businesses. Like you have to be retail and stuff like that. It's like, no, you could have a business quarters, you could go in and be a easy place to go access maybe insurance information or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that you can do it. Not so it's not an arcade as in that. It's more, and it is kind of like that. Like I understand what you're saying, and I'm an adult, so I probably don't feel that, but kid probably could. They just do the card thing. That's what I do, but we don't go often either. I don't think it's something you should do all the time. But I'm talking like, hey, if you went to the mall and I don't know, your kids being crazy, would you pay $10 to let them go jump around in some like trampoline area or something like one of those trampoline parks? Like, what if it's just a mini one? Hey, let them spend $10 and go jump around for a little bit. Let them spend some energy, and then we'll go shop. Little things like that I think could go a long way. Well, that's what I'm talking about, Embrew. A lot of the things that people are doing right now, they don't even realize actually hurt their fellow American, not necessarily the richest man in the world. If you think king a Tesla is going to make him upset, yeah, it might make him a little like, oh darn, that's bad for my clients. But what ended up happening in my city was all you did was, cause thousands of damage to a woman who needs a Tesla because she's disabled. She can't walk or anything like that. So, like, at the end of the day, it seems like most of these quote unquote protests from one side, at least, end up hurting American people, American businesses more than the actual person they're trying to hurt. Probably part of a plan. Anyway, 30-minute here. We're opening up at 575. Very key thing to, I think, holding 575 would be a good thing. I'm going to go look at some levels for us this morning over here. We're going to pull up the 6th. I'm going to refresh that real quick, but it looks like we have two key levels to pay attention to. That would be 570 and 580. Very nice. So something I wanted to watch for the day was, do we go to 580 and then do we end up pulling down to 570? So that would be a very interesting way to touch both sides and then hint that, hey, we might be going into that pullback into Thursday. That would be very interesting. As far as Thursday goes, the level to watch is, wow, weirdly enough, I'm going to pull this over. It's not that many contracts, but the level to watch for tomorrow for the bear side is, well, you always want to pay attention to the first point, 574. Obviously, to the upside, we have 584. But to the downside, look at that 550 creep its head up. That would be a scary thing, man. That would freak some people out, I think. Whew, that'd be a little rough. That would be a little bit rough, I think, guys. That might not be a good thing if we go down to 550. But like I said, going into this, I was overall risking opportunity cost. So every upward move, I'm going to be slightly mad at. Okay, today, every upward move, I'm going to be slightly mad at, just so you're aware, because I want this thing to pull back. I want to be right here. I'm kind of in a have the market prove me right moment here. It's not my best moment. Let's put it that way. The mall was the weekend night babysitter back in the day. The mall was we didn't really go to our mall. Our mall sucked, but it kind of like I've noticed in this area, less than other areas that I've lived as an adult, but this area, kids really get together and play, and I think it's a great thing. They really just get together. They found a broken bike and they spent all day trying to fix the bike. I literally watched it. I was like, this is awesome, because that's how I grew up. And I watched my niece and nephew grow up, and I'm like, God, they just don't have that same thing. It kind of feels unfortunate. Too many creeps out there or something. I don't know, but it's unfortunate. I really wish kids could be fully kids again. Here we go. Still looking at that 580 to the upside. So now we know this. This is very good about today. Key level, right in between our yellow and our red right there is going to be the key level, right? Or actually pretty much right on the monthly expected move. This is great for us, right? Because we're going, okay, this 15-minute probably curled up, right? Curling up. If that thing curls up, hey, where are we likely to get to? Well, the purple line or the red line. For the day, we know that 580 is important. So I would say if we can cross through this high, you're probably getting to 580. Okay, awesome. We know that now. Now we're chilling. If we get to 580 and that confirms down, that might have divergence behind it. We might see the bigger pullback down to 570. Very awesome there. If we can remain at higher levels, though, this could continue to squeeze. Important to keep an eye on what people do with their money. Probably in the next 10, 15 minutes, we'll check on that. As of right now, no confirmation from the 15-minute. So if this is just going to start to fail, then we would be paying attention to 570 to the downside for support. Not trying to say like, hey, this is some kind of big bearish thing. I don't think it's really bearish. I just think there is a way to go fill that gap. There is a way to do that, even with the potential for island reversal here, especially for the Qs or IWM maybe. This is just interesting because if we do come all the way down to that gap, it would be probably a pretty solid trap. It would be a pretty rigorous move. So for the day, still 570. High probability of price rejection in this area on SPY, in my opinion. Yes, this is the first level. right? This is the first level to pay attention to. Do you guys remember this low? All right, we have to be taking into consideration that low. What we like to do is say, hey, that little zone here, there's kind of a zone here. You can see that. And if you make anything in here, it could be the first moment where you need to pull down. So we're watching it. If you can gap above those areas, really, if you can gap and hold above 585, I think you're just one more level away, maybe like a 595 away from just saying, hey, we're going to all-time highs at this point. And that's just how it's going to work, I think. But I think we have high potential for a pullback first, right? That's talking maybe even a month and a half into the future that we're at all-time highs, right? That could take a month. That could take 2 months to get back to all-time highs. 2 months. So am I willing to bet on the shorter term? Oh, this is going to go down now and then up next week. Or do I want to just say, hey, we'll be at all-time highs in the next 2 months, right? Much simpler bet. But I think I'm looking for the signals that just give me that, yes, we're going to try for that now. AMC was moving. I think it was up like 1%. Now it's down, or now it's up only 0.33. So nothing crazy there. If we're going to see craziness with this, I think you just want GME and AMC to close at higher prices than right now. That would be good. And then I think you need to see potentially good things on Monday, Tuesday. If this is going to be really good news, then Monday, Tuesday should be good. Let's go into a 15 just for a little bit here. If this is going to be very squeeze-like, then we potentially make the divergence here and then fail that one too. We just keep squeezing. I really want to see the CPC came in a little bit low again, right? Still some call side activity there. Came in below 0.8. IWM looks like maybe reaching up to our 210 level very soon. How'd Meta end up doing? Meta actually coming back down into the weekly expected move as of this moment. So that was a good one to get rid of at that point. That's good. Amazon, we got rid of that, and I could have seen a little bit more green, but it is outside of that zone. I'm just not comfortable holding it just yet until maybe we see a pullback. That's my plan going forward. So still paying attention to Amazon and Meta, really. Even like gold is really piling up here too. I wonder what futures looks like. It's probably going to be like a 2 hour or something. Yeah, 2 hour crosses down for gold. It will be not a good thing for the futures here. That really looks like a slanted something. So let's see, where could that end up for GLD then if we 280, 5 points, 4 points. I think yeah, 275. Look for 275 soon for GLD. That would be interesting. Don't mind that. 30-minute for volatility. Nvidia's just doing the thing, pulling back to go fill that gap. That thing could just launch now. Now the 2 hour was maybe able to cross with that, so that's the worrisome sign. So you want to see how that behaves over the next hour and 50 minutes, because if that curls down, you could go all the way down to 108.70, or more likely something like 110, but we'll see from there because that gap's down there for Nvidia. Just to show you guys that real quick, you see here the 30-minute doing what it needs to do, going down to these areas, but remaining by the center line. Very good, but you need this to snap back now and show you that good positivity continued through these highs, because now you're confirming a 2 hour down. If that confirms in an hour and 50 minutes, that can be a big problem. That's how you end up going down to these type of levels or the filling of a gap, right? We can see that shoot down all of a sudden. People really freak out. But I just don't know if we're in that environment right now where people are going to freak out again, even if it's a tariff thing, right? I think they just don't necessarily have. I think they might be a little bit desensitized to tariff. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, you're below it now. You're probably just talking about the highs here. Do you think tariffs are good long term? Yeah, I think they have a good chance to be. I think there's a way for anything to be good or bad long term, right? I think it's kind of both ways. Um, I'm not someone who will be like, yes, for sure, they will 100% be good. It's just what causes the tariff to be bad. I don't think reciprocal tariffs are bad at all. I think reciprocal tariffs are great because you're already getting tariffed by someone. So, treat others how you want to be treated. You want to tariff me 10%? Okay, well, then I'm going to tariff the things you need from me for 10%. At the end of the day, everyone just trading would be nice, but but there's always incentives going left and right. Tariffs deflationary too. Like I said, you might be in a period of time where they say you're in a recession, this is awful, but the only people that really lose their jobs consistently are like government jobs, and your life gets better. I would really pay attention to the difference, right? What a politician's telling you, what the financial media says you're in economy wise, and then how your wallet is feeling. How your wallet is feeling is what actually matters to you. The ability to um, continue having your habits would be technically, I would say, how you would describe, okay, how am I doing? If someone tells me the economy's bad, but I'm still having a roof over the head for my family, food on the table, and able to show up to work every single day, able to buy a few things, maybe go out to dinner maybe once a week, hey, then I'm like, okay, I'm good, you know? I don't really care. Because if I get in that negative mindset, maybe I don't produce as well, right? I think everything's negative, negative, negative to try to keep you guys negative all the time. Even when we're going up, they have negative things to say. When we're going down, they have negative things to say. It's just all negative. Everything's for clicks. If you get in a negative mindset, you'll get negative outcomes. So be positive, right? Think differently than others. Think I don't have to make all that money right now. I have time. How old are you? If you're you're below like 80, then you probably have time to make money in the market. Ow. Tariffs cause an initial like spike in inflation, but not inflation itself. It will be transitory. Jerome Powell actually understood that. Tariff caused 99% of the countries that tariff us would be complaining. Exactly. Yep. Gosh, just based. Now, I would say this: the way that tariffs could cause a huge spike in inflation is if you're just doing no manufacturing, no production, right? That's a very obvious thing if you want to think about it, right? We don't necessarily, if you don't have anything to produce and you need to take everything in from everyone else and everyone is tariffing you, you're paying a premium for everything, right? So it's very important that at the same time, Trump is putting out tariffs, we're actually seeing people transition over and doing manufacturing here. That would be a big deal. And we've already seen that from a lot of car companies. So it's overall, I would say it's working so far, right? I would say so far. I think it's the production side I like milk. It's more the production side. I think it's just a matter of certain products might be slightly inflationary, but a lot of products like that you really care about, your big purchase items. Cars are your big purchase items. It's house, car, and furniture. If you get house, car, and furniture production here in the States, very, very nice, right? Then those things can get cheaper, right? It's like making dinner at home versus, making pasta at home versus going out to your Italian restaurant down the street. Right, but certain products might not be safe, right? Things that we cannot produce here. But at the end of the day, these aren't really our problems to figure out. Let them do what they want to do, and we'll talk about them then and see if they're good decisions to make to buy something or sell something, right? At the end of the day, your money's what talks. Like, if something is way too high of price, well, then no one's going to buy it. The company goes out of business. Someone else comes around, does it better, or produces it at home. So I'm just not like so scared. Like if iPhones increased in price to what they actually like should probably be because of the labor, it's like, okay, if they wanted to make the same margin, they'd what have to be like $2,400 a phone or something like that. So it'd just be like, oh, okay, well, Google makes their phones here and it's only $600. Okay, I'll go with that. Like, oh, what a big shift in, what a huge shift in my life. But hey, I'm a pretty adaptable person. I changed. I did that change, that exact change that I just discussed. I did it with the phone company I use for service and my phone. And now I pay like 80% less than I used to pay. And that's one of the goals, right? Like a software engineer, right? Their job is half the time to make something run more efficiently or look for bugs. Hey, that's what I do to my budget a lot of the time. You want to look at Google real quick? Let's go look at Google. Google turned down here, right? Are we at a key level for Google? And NVIDIA still giving up the gains as of this moment. VIX bouncing. Yeah, I kind of want to check this out real quick. See what the hell's going on here. Interesting. So Google hit a key level. This is where you want to see consolidation. So the question here would be if we're going to pull back, where would we pull back to? Well, there's a few things, right? We made the good structure to break through what? Well, break through this area right here. So this would be a very good level to come back to, something around that 167.80 level. If you want to remain just a little bit higher up, well, you'd be looking at these two highs in here and saying, hey, there's probably a little box here, and if that box just dragged that over, hey, you might be right over in that area right as you test the 5. So is this as bad as it seems? Not necessarily. The 30-minute can just do all of this and still just curl up one time. And maybe that does curl down the 2 hour, but it's so positive that that would be a little bit more like, hey, it's still leaning towards a pullback at this point. A lot of things are leaning towards pullback. It means if I see this 2 hour cross down, I can treat it seriously, right? If I have longer out options, hey, you can hold through all the mess, right? But I like to manage trades personally. So I don't think it looks bad. I think we're going to end up in the upward direction, but I think a pullback is very likely, and that goes the same for all of those individual stocks. And right now, NVIDIA is really turning down. Google is reacting down off of a weekly expected move. Means this is where pullbacks happen. This is the first real test. And now it goes, hey, do we need to go finish that business down there? Does NVIDIA need to do some unfinished business? Or are we just going to go down to 570, see that tagged, and then turn right back up, right? We do see that people are overall shorting at the weekly expected move, right? We're getting to, well, not overall people shorting, but we're at those elevated levels, 0.9. Once we start to get above 0.95, once we start to get above 1, it's going to be a problem. So I think a reaction in the SPY coming down right now would be great for people to take bearish bets and be completely wrong. I didn't drink any of my coffee. Yeah, overall, all around, just a pretty good thing, right, Sid? Not bad. And they're seeing positivity, right? We're right at that level, right at it. It's not an accident. There's a reason these things keep happening over here. I don't get it. Are we bullish? It depends on the time, right? It depends on how much time you're giving the market. Are we bullish in saying, hey, I think we'll be doing potentially a new all-time high in the next 2 months? I think so. I think you could see a squeeze in the next 2 months or so, right? Give yourself that time. Yeah, for the SPY. Yeah, I was talking about for the SPY. If GME squeezes, it squeezes, right? The plan there is not to make money really, really fast. The money probably will be really good. It's like if I want to do options, okay, do little 2-month options every 2 months and save up $500 and you got a bunch of contracts. Okay, like real simple. But the SPY here, it could pull back, fake people out to the downside, and then we start some kind of mega squeeze. And I think there is potential for that. It's, do I want to bet that there's a pullback by not being in the move now? Or am I just going to remain in the move? Can the move fail? There's always risk. But how I see it, this would track to a perfect like sell in May and go away, weirdly enough. That's why I keep saying 2 months. This would be a great sell in May. Maybe we see a correction there, right? Once we get through these months, it really starts to lean towards, well, okay, maybe May, but if we see a big spike up and it just completely fails. But other than that, it's just like, okay, this could leak out until what? October? So we just got to see how big that squeeze is when it does happen, because I think you're higher probability to do that. So I think that's safe to say. It could turn down right now, though, because of the things we were talking about with NVIDIA. Remember last night's video? This is how these things fail, right? That was it up, right? You're getting that signal right now in about an hour and a half. So the next hour and a half is very important for NVIDIA. Does it drop lower? Does it drop and close below 115? That's going to be a big deal. It has 2-hour divergence. We showed it off in the video last night. So make sure you're watching the nightly videos. So short term, I think pullback. If you want to call that bearish, that's fine. I'm not trying to short the damn thing. But medium term, I would say squeeze. Sympathy for M phase and dumps like a whale. I think a lot of things will squeeze together. I think housing might squeeze. I think I haven't looked at XLU like utilities or anything like that, but I think that has potential to see some upside. Right? I think that's been bottled up for a while. Break down or break up. Hey, what's going to happen with it? That's the overall thing. Man, still want to see it. If 550 would happen tomorrow, that would be a little wild. 2-hour crosses down, that is still possible, but not the most probable. More probable is 570 or gap fill. I think tomorrow's your bigger data dropped kind of day. I think tomorrow, well, today kind of started the data, right, with durable goods. Tomorrow, though, you actually get data like GDP. And that's supposed to go from the previous of 3.1 down to 2.3. So how people read into that will be big. Then initial jobless claims will come out at the same time. Then the next day you'll get that personal income, personal spending. Like I said, I'm really just watching personal spending. I think personal spending is a great thing to watch right now. If people can still spend, that will convince us that the consumer is still okay. That will convince people that, are investing, that people are still spending money. So I think that's the big thing to watch for this week is personal spending. Oh, long term, I think quantum will be good, but it's, anything goes. Long term, I'm talking like 30 years, I think quantum will really figure it out. And the fact that it's quantum, it might be way faster than 30 years, but from these type of levels, I think there's enough good names that picking all of them and then being like, okay, one of these could be an Nvidia at this point and just go to $1,000 eventually. I think that is the potential there. But I think that's one that will need its time, right? I think it will need that good amount of time. I would say at least I would say probably 10 years. And quantum could be huge by 10 years. That's the thing. Like it could only take 5 to see like a double in a lot of them, but I would give it 10 to 20, 10 to 30 years. It's kind of one of those like, oh, I wish I bought Apple in the 1980s, right? There might be some people in here that say that to themselves who were around for the 1980s. Well, you might be saying that to yourself. Well, this is kind of those times where you have to be looking in and be like, hey, do I have an amount of money that makes sense to buy some of these? Because some of the best investors of all time, 99% of their investments were terrible, but the 1% made them really, really rich. Pfizer? I'll look at my other chart. I want to see this dip down for the SPY real quick. But Pfizer again going down to that lower level, not making the best divergence here, but has diverged on the MACD, not the RSI. So there could be a lot of time here. You can see the 30-minute cross up, cross back down. I think for now, for Pfizer, the better thing would be like, hey, can the MACD go back to positive? Can we break through? What is that? Let's go this level right here, $27, right? You look at this and you're just like, okay, we're moving like this. It's kind of lackluster. It's whatever. Could it be something to break down? Yeah, always can. And it's pointing down right now. But if that daily crosses up and then you close above $27, ooh, that might take back the 200. You might be heading to 28.50. You get through all that, hey, you might be booming. So looking long term, looking at weekly charts going, okay, there's divergence at the low. We could go make another one, but this is potential for, hey, a big reaction soon. Maybe to go all the way back up to $35, right? But that could take all year. That could literally take all year long to happen. So I've started to realize I need to add a little bit more time to my stuff and I'll be a lot better off. Amazon, I'm glad I sold that one. If you want to go look at Amazon, that was the one. That was the risk I saw happening. Some kind of dip down into this zone. That's very good. That's proving that I'm making at least a good decision right now, and I had a good thing to back it up, so that's good. By dropping. Dropping. But 570 is where we'll watch. Probably not squeezing, right? Pulling back. Might just need a liquidity grab. This is the way that I saw as the most probable to actually end up in a mega squeeze was give a downward move. I mean, I don't know what it'll pull down to, but Palantir's seen some good positivity for a while, so if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Palantir saw some good things. It's looking for the same things as everyone else. Just look at breakout areas, gap fills, 30-minute curl down, 30-minute curl up. Like I said, it's not as bad as it seems. This is just a regular drop. It's fine, but it could even go down to, SPY could go all the way down to 550, and I would still say it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to be in calls at that point, but I think 570 is a great level to get to, and then we'll see what happens. I think you could fill gap today, maybe going into more so tomorrow, just if something surprising happens. I would like to fill the gap today and just get good data and good data the rest of the week. I think 2 days of squeezing would be amazing. And yeah, that's how I think about it. Volume, try not to pay too much attention to volume right now, but like we said, remember that was coming down with the big greens. The big greens were starting to come down on the 30-minute. Okay, we'll watch if red ticks up, and now red's ticking up. So this was the only point that really helped us were these overall highs, right? We understand, oh yeah, it's okay, volume coming down. It doesn't really matter in a squeeze. I could go show you a squeeze. You're going to see red ones of these, green ones of these. The thing is the volume going down? Okay, do we see that volume spike up with a big red bar during market hours? We'll see. I think it's possible to fill that gap today, but I think it's more probable just to test 570. And then we'll have to see what the data has in store for us tomorrow. Yeah, there's more volatility in the tech sector, so. Yeah, the SPY's volatility, implied volatility for the day dropped off. The Qs didn't really drop off at all. SPY's really adjusted by a few percent. The Qs only adjusted by like 0.2% or something, so very small. So it's still expecting volatility in there. VIX had a 4% spike. I'll go check on that on my other charts real quick. 2-hour easily staying confirmed there. 30-minute confirming the rejection divergence. Actually, made a little blip there, so we'll call it divergence. 2-hour very likely to get a move I would still look for that 1950 would be solid, but that 5-day is still creeping down. The 5-day rejection is how the SPY pretty much just goes to 570 and then we bounce and that's it. How's JP doing? JP doing the thing still. Yeah, they still might need pullbacks, man. I know they're squeezing, but that's a little too excited for me. That's a little too excited. Maybe hanging on to one contract at that point, just going, hey, spray and pray kind of moment. That's probably just great money if you caught JP Morgan at the right time. Oh man, I just got out of who cares? It's a great trade, wasn't it, Richard? It got complex and then it made the same exact signal. That's pretty crazy, but yeah, like I said, if you can't be bummed out if you're anywhere. If you made money, I wouldn't be bummed out. I mean, I'd be maybe a little bummed, but really at the end of the day, you're like, thank you for the monies. Already locked in a good UVXY. Nice little trade there. That's kind of crazy because the SPY didn't move that much. Everyone's losing their minds, and I'm just like, I mean, it's very controlled over here. I know tech's really pulling it down and breaking some stuff, but that's just a daily expected move. So this is still within the realm of expected for the day. If we go to 570, that'll print. I think it's likely. Hopefully you don't sit sideways all freaking day. After that good move yesterday, Tesla's giving up most of it. Well, actually, not most of it. Most of the move outside of the month or the weekly expected move. I am speaking really terribly right now. I apologize. It does have forms of divergence. You can see that on the RSI. So this is where a pullback would be great. Like this is a good area to pull back from. This is great price action. You know, people will say, "Oh, rejecting off of a trend line, just turn down for a moment and turn right back up, buddy. Just do it." Tell them to do it. They'll take shorts here, and they'll be completely out of the real squeeze when this thing gets back to 350, 328. And then maybe if it takes 328, it gets all the way to 362. It's like, that's what I think is probably coming for Tesla. I think it'll see at least a 328.50. That's what I think's coming. But you can go through pullbacks. So do I think it's coming right now? Probably not right at this moment, but do I think it'll be at 328.50 at some point in the next 2 months? Hell yeah, I do. Now I need GME to hit 50 by Friday. Let's go. Then you want it to remain above what? 28, 38, 28, 38, 28, 35? What did you miss? Not a lot. We're seeing if this thing's going to pull back or seeing if it's going to squeeze higher. But right now it's holding up pretty damn well. Maybe the pullback happens tomorrow. I have something. I'm going to run by you. No rush. Give me a call. All right, all right. I think my buddy wants to start his own thing. I think he's sick of working 9 to 5. He wants to start something. So I like to help my friends out. At least with the marketing side and the content side. I need SPY to pull back to 565 for a few hours. It would say low percentage for the day, but hey, that means that would print. If you if you took a bet for 565, here, and that went all the way down there, it would print a lot of money, especially in one day. But it says that's a low prob for now. Right, we would need to see how the close happens, and if we just see something crazy, it's still 32% chance to get down in that area, I would say. That would definitely be a 2 standard deviation move for sure. So if you do go to this level, you have a 95% chance pretty much of a bounce. That's kind of crazy. So we're still paying attention to the fact that mainly in kind of squeeze mode here. Anytime the shorts get slapped, it's good. Yeah, it's still up there. It's just right at our line. It's right where we expect it to be. That's where the fight begins. Volatility not really rejecting yet, so we'll see on that 30-minute in a moment, but it's starting to get that little wick. See if someone sold some shorts. Ticked up, but not anything aggressive. It's going to be aggressive tomorrow when I look at this short sale volume. That's for sure. What do I have here? SPY still showing some downside there. What did NVIDIA do? I want to keep my eye. Actually, I'll keep my eye on NVIDIA over here. I want to see how NVIDIA reacts at these lows. It can get that right shoulder as well. I think it's just preference. You can understand things, things that you understand, they might understand differently, and those are just the type of decisions. I say shorting, and I buy puts, right? I like to buy puts and buy calls. That's overall like what I like to do, actually. So, however you want to read into it, I don't care. I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. Market's gonna go down. All right, put. Market's gonna go up. All right, call. Yeah. Well, yeah, but how long? You're assuming a lot more risk. So what you're saying is, I want to speed up the timeline, right? To Mad Dog, you want to speed up the timeline. That's why you're taking on more risk. Where can I find your positions and bets? Nowhere. That's not what this channel is about at all. Sold my call because SPY was dropping and I bought a put. Now I'm afraid. Yeah, see, Tyler, that's why I'm not eager to short. I'm not eager to buy a put right now because I'm like, well, I don't necessarily want to go short here because what if this does just hold up better and then squeeze tomorrow and then I'm done with that, right? So I'm not saying I'm buying, positions that say the market is going down, right? Because I'm aware that this can just do that, right? We're still in a short squeeze. So for me to say I think you could potentially be in a short squeeze, you're in high risk of being in a short squeeze right now, and then I short the market, that would be totally hypocritical, right? Because a short would feed the squeeze even more, right? It wouldn't make sense in my brain to be like, I'm really scared of a short squeeze, so I'm going to short this. Like that's the decisions I used to make, actually, and because I would see a little signal and think I have to play the market every day. I don't have to do that. Yeah, I don't have to do that. But I would say, like, for the day, day traders, you have your way of doing things. Hey, I think you could get to 570, but it's just I'm not going to risk money on a trade like this. That's just not what I like to do. I'd rather risk that, hey, at some point in the next 2 months, we're going to hit 590. I would rather risk that. It's like, do I want to be like, I'm going to win by spinning the wheel today one time, or win by seeing, these spins do whatever they want, but end up with the outcome that I think is going to happen later, right? More time, easier to think about. Spy could just curl up right here and fake everyone out. You don't have to think it's not it's not that. I think you're smart enough. I'm not saying that you're not intelligent at all. I think everyone's smart enough. I think you just have to think about it in a different way. Think a little slower. Right? You've heard multiple times people probably on the internet saying there's potential for a squeeze soon. Over the next like month, it's probably going to start. Okay, cool. Or over the next couple of weeks, it's going to start. Okay, cool. Where do you think that squeeze is going to go to? I think 585 was a great level from the lows down here, right? I said 585 from over here, but I had a reason to sell early. Okay. But if I was trading it, am I going to take a bet that that's going to happen in a week? Or am I more likely to be right if I give myself a month or 2 months? That's all I'm talking about. That's the shifting in thinking, right? You don't have to make it really quick. But and this is why I don't stare at charts all day long. This is why, like, the live stream was very good. It was very fun all day last week. But I am not someone who thinks trading better means looking at charts longer. Still suggest that book. Did anyone grab it? Anyone grab that book? Hopefully someone grabbed that book. You did, Samson. Okay, give it a read, man. I think you'll really like it. I think Tyler, I think you would enjoy it too with your questions you're asking. I think you would really enjoy it. It's just the psychology of money. You'll see a lot of correlations now to things we talk about here. And I've never read it before. So I was like, yeah, I really want to read this. I'm trying to get more into actual reading of books. But you'll see a lot of correlations to things we talk about here, which is very cool. Like, I love the fact that I see that because I'm like, wow, okay, this kind of makes sense. At least in my mind, I can figure out, okay, this is what's been making me successful. It's very cool. Yeah, but like I said, there's people that just trade on a daily chart and they just see big things happen and then they take, positions. They just know how markets like to move. Yeah, Tyler, get the psychology of money. It's like $10 right now on Amazon, Tyler, just so you're aware. That's why I think it's a great time to grab it, snag it too. I did for my friend's B-Day. Hell yeah, Lion. That's what's up, Lion. Yeah, Lion, it's unfortunate. People trade too differently. There's so much decision making that comes into trading that trying to take trades based on someone else or what someone else is doing is a difficult thing if you can't see what they're doing 100% of the time. And you have to go with the inclination that that person's right more times, right? You're being very dependent there. I would rather you learn, things for yourself and then figure out what kind of style is good for you. Is investing good for you? That's something that I think is better. I'll get it. Yeah, Tyler, give it a good read. I think if you read it for like give it a solid hour, you're going to sit there and be like, "Wow, this is insane." Yeah, exactly. And all you're doing is spreading out that time frame. I think day traders would be much more successful on 5-minute charts than 1 minute. Tried to learn the structure. The structure Schwan. I haven't watched that guy in months. Okay, Vic. Okay, I am watching Nvidia over here. Nvidia's about to potentially close, try to test 115. If it closes below 115, we could see this actually. Well, actually, the SPY really not getting that aggressive to the downside. So maybe, man, that'd be crazy. Nvidia takes care of everything itself. I did say Nvidia would be the one to fall if we're going to pull down, but it's not even pulling down the SPY. AMD should be another one, right? It seems like semiconductors, Amazon falling down, Meta falling down. Wow. This is good stuff, actually. This is kind of what we want to see. Some inclination of some pullbacks. So the thing is, I still shout out my trades. Like I literally told you. I think we even because we were live all week long. I mean, you guys were there when I said I am buying Meta. I am buying Amazon right now. I'm scaling back in. Oh, I see a turn down. This doesn't scare me. I think there's more probability of seeing upside Monday, right? All of those things were great. We even took a hedge last week during an upside move. We even took profit for Meta early with half the move to show like, hey, this is where rejection can come. We even called out 570, and this is where we took the hedge. And we were right about that. So we did it really well. You can go look through those live streams. They're all day long on Rumble. They were there. And if you were there, you're probably like, damn, we're doing pretty good. I did, Mike. Yeah, I did. I risked opportunity cost, Mike. I risk the fact that we could start the squeeze like even harder today. I risk that. Whoa, GME. 14%. That's what you need. This is what you need. You need to close above that purple line. Fact that we get right to it, great thing. You need that to close above there. And then you need AMC to kick in. You need this to kick in, man. But I think there's high potential, right? AMC had the divergence. It's the same thing we saw last time. Back in 2021. That's why I bought an option with it this time. Holding on to the stock, though, is the best way. That's how I like to put it. Yeah, but you want them to fight together. It's just more liquidity being drawn out. Weirdly enough, if you want GME to squeeze, you want other things to squeeze too. You want everything to kind of put them in a pain level right away. That's all I'm talking about. I'm sure you're mainly, if you're only in GME, obviously you want GME to go up. I'm saying that something that would help GME to go up would be other things squeezed too. Market's going to be bad. This ain't bad. This is just 30-minute holding at higher price. I mean, I know the Qs are showing a little more, but they're still within the daily expected move. You can always go down and fill a gap. You can stay in that monthly totally for the Qs. SPY, if it filled the gap, it would suggest that Monday or Friday to Monday, you will see upside. So we'll see. VIX is holding pretty positive now, able to curl up into positive territory on the 30-minute. 2-hour turned up, but very, very deep here. So I think you potentially need to watch early April too, right? Depends on how we have structured towards the end of the month. Yeah, that's fine, Richard. Exactly, that's fine. But you still see how, like, it's kind of like if I want MSTR to go up, I want Bitcoin to go up, even if I don't care about Bitcoin, right? It's like if I don't care about something, I can still understand how that affects the other. That's all. What do you use the weekly moves for? They are options data. So you use options data to calculate what people are expecting. And then you can see times where people are, we're getting there very early on and seeing something a little crazy. So pretty much every week you have a 68% chance to close on Friday in this zone. So what I look for are times where we get over leveraged out here and we see some kind of reversal. And then I go, okay, that's my moment for this to turn back down. Right. That's all explained in the course. We're going to be running a sale in April. It's already been decided. Yep, that got decided by me last night. We talked about it for a past couple of days. People started emailing me saying, hey, kind of want to see that course, man. I've been waiting for a little while. And I just go, okay, all right, we'll do it. We'll leave it up there for a while, maybe for even a decent chunk of time. Just kind of have it there for people at a cheaper price, not talk about it a ton. But if you ever have questions about it, please ask. This could have a 30-minute or 2-hour pullback, right? You can see both at the same time. That guy's head would explode. Yes. What do I mean by a 30-minute pullback? Well, I mean that it will pull back with time or pull back with price. If it's you are potentially just squeezing. I see very calculated need multiple things at once. Exactly. I call that my reasons, Aaron, my reasons for a trade. I think that the reasons behind a decision are the most important things. If I'm going to go out to lunch today, and my reason for going out to lunch to a burger place is because I'm addicted to burgers, it's probably not a good reason. But if it's because I've been doing really nice things all week and I really want to treat my wife, maybe my wife asked me for it, that'd be a good reason to probably go get burgers, right? If my wife asked me and said, hey, I really want burgers. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. You want multiple reasons to make a decision. And that's what we're going over. And now we're being proven right in our decision making here. And now I have to see, am I right about a 30-minute pullback? Is my decision making right here? And I could be totally wrong. There's never a 100% chance of being right. So what you're doing is you're playing this game. You're playing this game of, hey, what's going to happen next? What's the most probable to happen next? What's the most probable to happen next that is obvious enough that I want to risk money behind? That's actually the best way to phrase it. So an easy way to see what's more probable is make a move outside of a monthly expected move and give me a reversal signal. Very probable to go back in that move. Right? That's it. Literally that simple. Look for when something crazy is happening and people are losing their minds, and then you just sit there calmly and go, if it makes a reversal signal, it can go back into the higher percentage zone. That's it. As simple as that. And we'll teach you how to do it. We're going to put that up in about a week from yesterday. So next Tuesday, we'll have it up for you guys. Maybe we'll start it early on Monday. It's true, Samson. Now you will see this. So Samson, I don't want you to think this, but it's a 68% zone. So if I'm not seeing reversal signals underneath it, it still can go back into that zone. If I am seeing reversal signals beneath it, they can still fail. And that's why we talk about how you can get screwed. Yeah, Swan. So I really look for those times. And then what do? Do I say, oh, it has to get back into that move by the end of the month? No, because it can land outside of that. So what I like to do is I like to start to get into that next month. I always try to have I would say 2 to 8 weeks now is what I'm mainly going to target. And I think I'm maybe going to take away the 2-week thing and just try to play 4 to 8 week plays from now on. After reading this book, I learned that I think I could be even better just by giving myself that little bit of extra time. Am I going to teach if she's interested, Aaron? If she's interested, I most likely will teach her the investing side. Right? Holding through risk, not selling. She's at a young age, so buying her things really cheap would go a long way, I think. Any good level to look at on VIX? What did we say? 18. If we turn down 1683, but we're already seeing the reaction. So 1950. The test of 1950 up in these type of levels. Which means if it's going to get all the way there, that means the SPY most likely fills this gap. Okay, so the first level to really watch is just how do we behave at the 5-day moving average, because that's probably what we're going to be at when we hit 570. Right? If we hit 570, we'll probably be at the 5-day for volatility. So paying attention to what happens at 570 is going to be a big deal. As of right now, people are in the middle. They're kind of neutral about this drop. So if we're going to see more downside, I think that would get people nice and bearish. We could even close to the downside and then see good data, or see bad data, then good data, right? The big thing here is, what's my overall bet? Am I betting that this is going to happen, or am I betting that this is going to happen in the next 2 months? Well, then I don't really care if all this happens if we end up here in the next 2 months, right? Now, if I'm trying to make sure to get the best option, I'm someone who likes to move back and forth and trade like water. Like myself, I like to trade back and forth and trade like water. This is the first point I'd be paying attention to, and that's why you notice I sold my stuff yesterday. I sold all my calls yesterday, and now I get the benefit of being right. I easily could have been wrong, right? It was more probable with my argument to be right in saying there would be a pullback, right? That's it. I could have been wrong, but it was more probable for me to be right, so I went with that scenario. Thank God for Tesla bears. Aaron's like, thank God, stop the bleeding. Yeah, so very nice, very nice. Like, this is great stuff. Nothing about this is really that bad. Qs are even going down to past the daily expected move, so this starts to add more credibility. What do we pay attention to? Well, when the Qs violate their daily expected move, we look for if the SPY is violating its, because if the SPY isn't and then it goes down to it, the Qs could find support at whatever level it's at that point. So the SPY has some room to go here, about 2.5 points 2 points till we get to the daily expected move, 2.5 until we get to 570. Yeah, so technically, if you do bell curve, you would say 16% upside, 16% downside. I like to group craziness together, personally. It makes for that. So the reason that is bearish panic is because it'll help me see a bigger number that encourages me to understand that there is still risk there. Do you understand the mentality of me? If I truly do understand bell curve, you're pointing out the correct things. 16% chance maybe to end above, right? But if I treat it like 16 versus if I treat it like 32, you see how there's much more risk in my mind towards 32. I want to encourage myself to assume that I could be wrong even at all times, right? I could be wrong, right? What's the thing I'm looking for to be wrong and that kind of thing? Well, if I bring that percentage down to actual 16%, like you're talking about, then it starts to become okay, this is, I'm not going to pay attention to it as much. Oh, there's only a 16% chance that that could happen, right? So I put that 32 there because I grouped the craziness together. And I do believe that the bell curve shifts, right? I do believe that, say, your bell curve, right? You have to understand for the month, what are you? You're technically like this, right? Okay, that means medium price. Okay, we're down in here right now. So for the month, all of this is pointing up, right? So for me to take those shorter term trades here, I have to make sure I'm pretty right. Makes sense. Yeah, it's just to keep that risk in my brain. So I think it's easier for people to understand, and people would pay attention to it more if you call it what it potentially can be. It is risk, right? So 32% chance technically isn't like 100% correct, but it is correct. You think it could happen today? I still think 1683 could get tagged. Yeah, home builder's doing pretty good. HGX still on the daily chart though, looking not the worst, right? That big extended divergence across looks like it wants to get ready for liftoff. I mean, you got to make it through 678, and then ultimately the goal is to get all the way back up to here. So this could be the start of something good. You just don't want daily volatility to curl up. That would be the signal that scares even me out of buying calls. I will say that. SPY still not even seeing that much though. Really just fine. Watch a mega squeeze after today. I think it's potential, right? If we get the pullback and then we see upside, I think you have potential. I think if you want to get to all-time highs quickly, then you need to end the month pretty high up. I think you need to end the month above 580 for sure, if not going up towards like 590. I think if you want to see a new all-time high right away in April, and this is going to be a mega squeeze, like some people are calling blow off top kind of thing, hey, I think you want to see this thing close at extremely higher levels. You're right, nice call. Yeah, that's the more probable thing, so I went with the more probable thing. I still kind of wish I hedged it a little, because probably would be making a little bit of money. I think a lot of people call side. You can literally see NVIDIA wick up from here, and we start to squeeze tomorrow now. We'll find out. GME still holding very well, 15.31%. Very nice over there. 15 is still by that center line, though. Qs, are they? Oh my, that might be that might be it. We might be, are we done? Are we done with the pulling back? That could be it right there. Wonder if we need to look at stuff. Still look around. Oh, I have a mouse now. I forgot I redid my whole desk setup here. I have a mouse now. Oh, it's so much better. Actually, I still want you, I think. Gotta go look at this. Uh, Daily could still pull back. Might have to wait a little bit longer on this. All right, let me go use the restroom real quick, and I'll be right back. Because I might be waiting until the end of the day to buy these things. We'll have to see. Sorry, guys. You know how that coffee is sometimes, right? All right, let's see what we got going on here. I'm gonna look through a few stocks over here, see if this 30 minutes is gonna curl up. And once again, we still have the opportunity to curl down. Where is my 30-minute charts here? There we go. Okay. Okay. Ooh, DIA, you look kind of like you want a 2-hour pullback. Ooh, ooh, oh no, oh no. Must have been some piss coffee. I actually barely drank the coffee. I think it was the smoothie I had this morning. My coffee's, you know, at that kind of cold level now. Yeah. Doesn't it have to fill the gap? Nothing ever has to fill a gap. That's not the way to think, really. Really? That's nice short Fridays. Hell yeah. Yeah, don't sit there and think, it happens a big percentage of the time, but never say the words has to in the market. Nothing has to happen. Nothing ever has to happen. That's not probably the proper way to think about it. Everything is more, hey, I'm going to assume some risk. I can't get rid of the fact that there is going to be risk. You know, what if another 9/11 RIP, we don't want that, right? But what if another 9/11 happened tomorrow? Would anyone have seen it coming? No, that's part of the risk. It's a very small part, but there still is, you see, unforeseen risk that can be there at all times. So what you're looking for and what mentality you have to be in is there's no way I can be right 100% of the time. The best traders of all time, that one guy, the best trader, I think it's 66%. He has a 66% success rate. I think with money management, you really could be a 50% right trader and make money with money management. I think you could. The better way to think about it is just I know that there's risks that I can't foresee. I know that I can be wrong. So have a plan for if the plan goes wrong. Have a plan for if something would go wrong and also if it would be going right. And that would be you're taking a profit. So it doesn't have to fill that gap. It could start to squeeze now and totally not fill that gap. Right? Remember this gap? A lot of people said we have to fill that gap. We didn't fill this gap from January 14th until March. Okay, you don't have to fill it right now. You might fill it later. Hey, studies show and stats show that you always fill those gaps. Okay, cool. But no, I think it's either way, Oakland Group, but I want exposure at this point. Things have pulled back. I want some kind of exposure. That's the pullback I was at least looking for to convince me, okay, now it's kind of like this. It's kind of like my brother in the housing market, right? I talk about how people talk about rates. There are people that are willing to accept a 7% rate, but they say, oh, we'll float for a bit if it gets better, right? We're comfortable with a 7% rate. And then they'll look back 2 weeks later and come back and go, oh my God, it's at 6.2%. And then my brother goes, hey, would you like to lock it? And they go, no, let's see if it goes lower. If something that you see as valuable is cheaper than what you think you were going to buy it for at first, that's a very obvious sign that you think it's at least worth what you would have purchased it for previously. So anyone that was going to purchase Tesla at $400 and now is saying I will not purchase Tesla probably doesn't have the best research, right? The thing is, are you trading in a way that is in that type of scenario? That's why even me right now, I'm thinking of getting rid of my 2-week options. Even though they do really well for me, I can mitigate a lot of risk by adding some more time instead. I think that's pretty cool. Daily as of right now, I think we might see consolidation here for a bit too. That would be possible. Volatility, really looking like you want to fail volatility. So I think we might be starting that position now. I'm going to start it here. Just to have the exposure. And then we will look into dips scaling into the possibility of scaling. Still going to target the 4-week out mark. Even with 8-week options on can double their money with the right momentum or move. Well, and the first move could be wrong. You know, Samson, so here's the thing. This is what we're talking about, guys. Think about it differently and think if this would help you out rather than doing those short-term things. If I bought an option for here, let's say for mid-May, let's say I have that option that expires somewhere right over here. If this happens and you go, oh no, this is terrible. Well, if you have this option over here, you can just sit and be like, okay, but then that happened. And guess what? You still had time. That's all we're talking about. And now, I still like to manage risk in these times, but with a short squeeze, I want some kind of exposure because I think something could happen at any kind of moment. Now, did I put everything back in? No, I think we could still experience a 2-hour pullback as well, but I also think we could squeeze tomorrow. So I'm kind of in that up and down area, and so I go, let me just get that long-term play out there. No, I'm actually taking a long position that is going to build up now. I think this is a great upward move. I think, yeah, you're at risk of doing something like this, but just in case we just sit there all day like a squeeze would like to do, and then we see that, hey, well, guess what? We gap up tomorrow, this thing might take off because this is your 32% zone, and there are no reversal signals at this moment up there. So I'm going to sit there, I'm going to hold it and say that Amazon will be at higher prices in the next 4 to 5 weeks. But I was able to make money off Amazon. I did not risk all of that money again, right? 120% was the profit from Amazon and Meta together. That's awesome on those trades. Fantastic. And then I go, okay, but am I going to risk all of that profit or am I just going to risk the same position again? And I'm overall risking almost the same position again, right? So even if this trade completely lost, I would pretty much just be back to yesterday or 2 days ago. Very nice. I think I'm very comfortable with where I'm at now. And now I can watch, and if this wants to fill down there and then turn up, I'll be there. What up, Bernie? Nice to see you here on YouTube, Bernie. Stock heat map, majority green except tech. Yeah, tech going through some trouble, but daily expect to move for the Qs, just so you're aware. If you guys want to watch the Qs for a little bit, let's watch it. Because the Qs, key level. We broke out to these highs. Hey, we see that 5-minute divergence. Okay, 30-minute pulls back. We go into this area. Hey, this is great. This is the gap. This is the important level that we can draw a box in pretty much and say, hey, these wicks, yeah, but we include the gap too, right? You can cut through that gap quick and get to these wicks, but if you touch the top of it and bounce off, you could just see this 30-minute curl up and then you're experiencing something crazy. Now, something we will watch tomorrow is if we are just kind of down here all day and then tomorrow we gap up and we see this, right? If we start to see those reversal signals, then we'll really wake up. And that's when I'll manage risk and say, hey, maybe this isn't the right timing. I could even hold on to that and still scale in later because now I have longer outdated. But as I only have 4 to 5 weeks, I can react. Dang, I missed your show. That's all right, Bernie. We're still doing the live show, right? Over on Rumble at the end of the day today, right? We're always doing those closing streams over on Rumble. GME has had other positive earnings, but always dipped. Any idea why this time's different? I don't think it's different. I really don't. This reminds me a lot of AMC when it was ripping and ripping and ripping, and then it just ran its head directly into. Is that a daily? Yeah, it's a daily. And then it ran its head right into that move just above it, right? It went to like above 550 and then just dropped off a cliff. So once again, another bad thing happened there that no one saw coming. They diluted. But GME going to that critical level, this is great. This is great, guys. I'm not kidding around. This is a really good thing for GME to do. If it can hold like that, even extend it again, and then extend it again, and then go into Monday, and you're at 31 at the close on Friday, Monday, man, they might be covering at that point. So this is a big upward move. Like I said, you want more buyers than sellers to show up aggressively. And that's what happened. This is a great thing. This is the potential to still make structure if they're going to fight it down, right? Push it down into Friday or down in for a couple of weeks. And then guess what? Hey, 420. Guess what would be over here if you made all that structure? 420. Kind of funny. No, I went into Amazon, Nats. I'm just building the position a long term out. And if I see a pullback, I have money to scale in. Yeah, this would be really funny because if you got this, then 420 would be the time where that might be breaking out. Oh God, that would be insane. That would actually be insane. I bet that's a YOLO position live stream. He just wild cards it. Maybe he's live stream and makes a purchase live or something. That would be just insane. Let's go back over to the Qs. I really want to see how they behave here. It'd be so fitting. And the structure would look fantastic. Crazy, dude. Crazy if that would happen. Oh my God, the Twitter I'd be reading. Or I guess the X posts I'd be reading. God, it just doesn't have a good ring to it. I love tweet and Twitter. I think that's awesome. X just doesn't slap. In my opinion. Marketing guy over here, though, so take it for what it's worth. Just trusting the memes at this point. That would be great structure, and it happens to line up with a meme. That's the funny part, right, Jari? That's kind of crazy. And yeah, the only thing different this time is the buying pressure is really good. There's nothing different. It's just the buying pressure might be good enough to finally take more liquidity than short sellers have, and I think that's what you need. And they've been fighting the stock for what? A year? Yeah, a year now. It's crazy. AMC, though, still struggling, right? Still struggling to see any upside there. DJT seeing an aggressive pullback to possibly even go fill that gap. A lot of things kind of, let me go look through these little guys. The little guys are going closer to their gap fills. Not necessarily Palantir. GLD looks like, why does it look like it's gearing up for another move higher, but very flaggy? AMD, big drop off. That was really told to us. AMD is more saying like we're going to dip down for a couple of days here, which is very interesting. So I think AMD might see something crazy soon. 112, is that close to what you have? Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty damn close. We are about 70 cents off from each other. I have, just so you know, I have 111.57 to the downside. But that's a good sign, Dubs. That means you're right in that area. Treat it like a zone. I think you're calculating it just fine if you're hitting those kinds of numbers, but keep checking in on other ones. I want to see how close they line up. If they're really close, that's still a good thing. And I've noticed that my moves take into consideration a little bit more, right? Mine are a little bit bigger sometimes, I would say, more times than others of other people's that creates them. But Dubs, I think that's a very good calculation. That's very close. And that could be a simple thing as we're pulling different implied volatilities, right? That's all it could be. No, you're doing, that's fantastic. I love to see you doing it. I think that's awesome. Like you're trying to work for yourself and figure it out so you can utilize it yourself. Like I think that is amazing. That is so cool. The 2 hour for Nvidia, by the way, you got 45 minutes till that closes down. So Nvidia really wants to see a 30-minute move up from these levels, and you're breaking through these wicks. It's not necessarily a good thing. You need a 30-minute move, or else Nvidia is at serious risk of going all the way down to potentially 110.83, 111, or even 108.70. Do you think target for GME is monthly implied move 3064? I don't think this is a big run. Maybe after a pullback. It's very good at the end of the month to see an upward move. If you have monthly expected moves, and let's say your month looked a lot like this, right? Maybe, something like this, and you see it closing up here, what does that mean for the move, these lines? Well, they are going to shift. If you would close up here, they would shift like this. And then you notice how you would extend that possible upside, and then immediately you would say that momentum could take you all the way up to $35, $34. It's a very good thing to see the upward push or a downward push, right? It gives you a lot to go off of and gives you an easy target for next month. You would say, okay, if I'm not targeting some kind of mega squeeze and I see resistance come in at that monthly, that could be a potential level to make some money. Right, Sid? So it's not to suggest, it could be like, and the thing is, it could end up squeezing before, right, on that Monday, and then you see that print and you see the monthly expected moves, and you have a great level with, if the implied volatility is extremely high, I would get the 2 standard deviation. I would put that plot on there as well, and I would look for us to get to that 2 standard deviation if we're squeezing, which might mean that this ends up at $100 pretty quick. That's how fast these type of squeezes can happen if the problem is really there. That's the thing. I know a lot of people are going to be asking about GME. So it's overall, it's more about how do we end the month, Sid? And then what can we target based on what we saw at the end of the month? Is it good to target the upside monthly expected move? That would be an area where it's like, hey, if I have a ton of contracts for GME because maybe it was cheap to take those way out of the money contracts if you're trying to get the YOLOs going, okay, then that might be an area where I could sell maybe just a few contracts and break even. That way, if it doesn't happen right now, I'm still in the game and I can maybe play it later in case there's a big drop, right? There's always that way of staying, hey, how can I stay in the game? The longer you stay in the game, hey, you're going to assume that risk, but the longer you can stay in the game, the more chance of seeing one success. You can be wrong 99 times, be right once on GME, and be a millionaire. Isn't that crazy? It's just, do you have the funds to do it 99 times? Where the Qs are at with regards to their daily move, they're right on it. Sorry, I wanted to mostly pay attention to the Qs. I wanted to see if the SPY would still go to 570, but the Qs are right on it at this moment. So the reason I was watching the SPY was just to see, okay, a lot of the time we need both to get to their daily expected move. Probably not, Dubs. Probably not. That's why I just go based on price action for the time being, because at the end of the day, it's physically impossible for momentum not to tell you when things look better. And it told you on AMC that things are looking better. It told you on GME, hey, we built up back above that 5. All right, we saw curl up into positive territory on the 30-minute and the 2-hour, or rejection, I think, on the 2-hour, but still was there. So, am I seeing good things? Yes. Am I seeing even better things now? Yes. Can better things than that happen? Yes. But notice we're going better and better and better. What does that mean? Lower percentage chance, lower percentage chance, lower percentage chance. That's why if you are right about GME at one point, you'll make a ton of money, right? Because if you are correct, you're technically going to get the 1% chance moment. That's why I keep saying 99, 1. So if GME is going to go to 1,000, that's probably a 0.1% chance, you know? So SPY mainly just looking at 570, but really holding up nicely here. Nothing crazy. Seeing if people are making crazy bets, though. Not really. Pretty neutral. So they might need to shove it down tomorrow. We'll see. I think we do get some data. I think the personal spending is the main thing I'm paying attention to. I think GDP could be read into as bad, right? Slowing down. Yields maybe react up, right? This might be something that's affected tomorrow. And look at that, you're getting slight forms of divergence. TLT is probably, let's see, TLT is at the weekly expected move and the monthly expected move as well. So TLT looks like it's going to get a reaction here. That means yields are about to maybe drop off. Yeah, we can do a SPY close poll real quick. But yeah, yields just reacted directly to, you gotta love your monthlies, man, because yields just reacted directly, well, not yield, sorry, TLT reacted to a downside expected move and wicked off of it right away. Perfect retest, too, of a breakout. Could have gone a tiny bit lower, but pretty damn good. New high on GME, very nice. Keep those new highs going. SPY here, just so you have it. Maybe everything squeezes together. That would be cool. Oh shoot, what the heck was I looking at? Poll. Oh yeah, let's do a poll. Okay. Sure, refresh it. Let's go over to here. I think I have to go hit this. All right, we're here. Let's do a poll. Oh, I put 2 Ds. All right, we'll just do, does the SPY end green or red, green being positive, red being negative? Very nice. 1693. Very nice. Red, but above 570. Good. Nice. I like that. I don't mind that. Oh, of course, Sid. That's where I'm saying, like, if I extend it out, do I care? Right? I just wanted a cheaper price than what I sold for, and I got the cheaper price than what I sold for. So I'm able to get a cheaper price. I still think it's high potential to squeeze up. I know the risk of being wrong. It's awesome. But I think neutral is probably the best way to be right here. I think you're right to say that, Natural Born Nerd. I think neutral is perfect because it's pretty much 50-50, and you just go, I'll wait for the move. I'll wait for the cross up. I'll wait for confirmation. I think that's a good thing. Qs are down at the daily expected move, seeing some little bit of bouncing coming in, couple of wicks. Hey, could that fail? Hell yeah, it can. It can do something little like this and just cross right down and go fill that gap. If we're going to see a mega squeeze, well, then I remember I said I would like to not squeeze for 3 days outside of the move, but 2 days. I think 2 days would be the more likely thing. That's why I made my assessment. And now, guess what? I'm right back in the move, baby. And if we dip lower, guess what? I'm going to be in it again with more contracts because it's cheaper. And risking the same amount of money as last time because we just had a good trade. We don't want to ruin it by just risking all the money all the time. That'd be crazy. GME, nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's not a good thing, Sid. Yeah, you look at volatility. If this fails this signal, not a good sign. It means the 2 hour crossing down, and the 2 hour is not even close to being like, yeah, I want to make a divergence. It's really not. So if this 30-minute crosses down for volatility, I think there's a high chance that if we don't bounce from 1683, then we're potentially squeezing. But I know the plan here. The plan now is to chill for the week and accumulate calls into the end of April. That's what it seems like to me. End of April, early May, maybe even mid-May, right? Another income coming into short gold. GLD, if shorting wise, GLD would be the one that I would choose personally. I'd just be like, yep, that's likely to go down to what? I don't know. GLD. Like, yeah, I'd say in the next month you're probably going to be below. You're going to at least go to 275, if not all the way down to 271, 270, right in here. I think it's likely, but gold's been going up while the market's been going down. So what if gold goes down? Do you think the market goes up? Hmm. Who's so bearish? What the price action, Joseph? You think the price action is pretty bearish? Oh, I think you're maybe seeing that. I think you're not necessarily wrong. You're not necessarily fully right on that. I definitely think this is a neutral kind of time where it's going to figure out, are we going to retest lower and head higher? Are we going to give up and go lower? Right? Do we see a daily confirm up for volatility, or do we start to squeeze now? So I think that's why you're maybe in that headspace of like, you could be bearish, and you could have arguments, and I'd agree with you. You could be bullish, you could have arguments, I would agree with you. You could be like me and say 30-minute pullback, maybe we go fill the gap, and then we start to squeeze. I think that's the most probable thing, right? But there is a way for this to be bearish. I don't think you're incorrect in saying that. But there's also ways that this is very bullish as well. So you're looking for that battle. Who's going to win the battle? At the end of all this, who wins at the end of the week is kind of what we're paying attention to. This is a great first edge, though, for bulls to get back at a higher price. That is a very good thing. It is a good edge for bulls to be so positive on the 2 hour. It would take some dramatic things, but I easily understand this is the area where rejection can happen. I know it's such a simple point saying something like I'm, so bearish, but I really want to explain like why that thinking still makes sense, even if you're someone who's not thinking that at all and thinking squeeze. You can understand why someone could see this as bearish. We can always understand like just because something seems bearish doesn't mean it's very smart to short in the long term. The poll is way more divided than I thought. Let me go check it. I got to click over here. Looks like a lot of people thinking red. A lot of people thinking red. It's cool with me. I think red is very possible for the day. I think you have an argument for it. 70 likes. Thank you guys so much for 70 likes out there. Let's get that to triple dig, 4-2 tariff announcement might tank the market drastically, too much uncertainty. Yeah, and that's where we did point out the 550 is still there, right? I'm perfectly fine with that happening too, by the way. I still think all of that would still end up being back up, maybe going into April. Now we might end outside of these moves, but and we have data. So I think even with GDP, we could do this. But just in case we do this, I'm starting to get some exposure there again. Rody, thank you so much for joining us today. But yeah, tariff news has been pretty suspect for people these days. Makes sense. It causes a lot of like you use the word, right? A lot of uncertainty. I like that word. That's a great word choice. But you know what happens a lot in a crash, in an actual like crash? People are pretty certain. COVID was pretty certain, right? The housing crisis seemed a little bit certain. Might have saw one bounce early on, and then it was like, all right, we're certain this thing's bad, right? So you saying it's uncertain means there's a battle. No, Jari, I do not. I think I hope Bitcoin does well, but I don't think it'll be safe from the things that are coming down the pipeline. I don't think it'll be safe from the actual stock market recession. I think you've already been in recession for a little while, but that's me personally. Um, I think the stock market is just lagging to show that. Probably because we have 7 stocks that can hold markets up, right? But now I think people are going to think this is a crazy good bottom and we're going to have a 10-year bull run. I think you're going to see that from a lot of people. 5-10 year bull run calls. And then I think eventually, even if it's by May, it could be quick if it's by May. If it's not by May, then we're still paying attention to October. I think it could last a while. Yeah, I think Bitcoin could easily get to 129. I think 129K is my marker, but there's too many reversal signals there that really convinced me like, oh yeah, this is a great point to invest for the next 10 to 20 years. It's just too many. The monthly curled up at like 40,000. That was the last time that I thought Bitcoin was a good investment. But starting a position now, hey, yeah, you could still make like, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60% even. You never know how high that thing can go, but I think there's risks. Too much risk. That's the thing. There's always risk, right? You're never going to have perfect anything, but I'm saying too much risk for me to attempt to get a reward. Because I would like to just hold on to Bitcoin. I don't want to necessarily trade it too much back and forth. Nvidia survived. Let's see. Got. Oh no. 28 minutes, man. This is where you have to wick from. Yeah. This is gonna be crazy, man. You guys want to watch Nvidia for a little bit? You want to watch it for this? Let's go ahead. We can go a little deeper. Get a couple of bars here. You got to see positivity in the next 28 minutes. This is such an important level for the day. You start to lose this and retest it and fail. You can always, slightly take it back, very quickly. But that moment where the 2 hours cross, it's like, man, it's going to be risky for a bit. Now, if we see upside here, we see support in the 2 hours crossing, I'll still give it some time. Yeah, there you go. We're posting in the chat there. We got, plenty of weekly expected moves. This is a great time to join the Patreon. We say this at the end of every month. At the end of the month is great because you get a lot of the upfront stuff right away, right? At the end of the month, you're going to get on the 31st, the night of the 31st, or whenever the month closes, you will get monthly expected moves. And then next week, you'll get weekly expected moves for all the stocks that we cover. And then after that, you'll get daily expected moves on Friday. So it's a great time. Oof. All right, I'm bored with this. Q's, how are you doing? There you go. There you go, Q's. Do your thing. I think the retail's waiting on the algos. Algos are waiting on retail. I don't think people, they still want people to make bearish bets here. I don't see people flying to the bearish bets, so I'm always aware that gap fill can happen. You'll bet that it closes ARD. It's gonna close ARD. Red? DATS. I was making sure you didn't misspell that, by the way. That's why it took long to respond there. Oh, DAT chat? Whoa. Okay. No real good signal to be in this besides just get very lucky. There is no reason for that, according to technicals. Well, let's see. It crossed on a daily chart. So I guess your confirmation was at 245, and then you had to have the balls to hold through that. And then you saw a big move. So the only point that I see on this big ass chart is right here. That got confirmation. That might convince you like, okay, go, go, go. But you had to hold it through some nonsense period here without crossing down the MACD. So if you had the balls to hold it, looks like you were rewarded. And guess what? It went perfectly to $6, which is pretty much, like if you really look at this, that's the high level. The low level was right here at 414 where you're at now, which happens to be where that wick is as well. And the high level here at these closing bars would be 595, and you got like right there. So very nice. You'd want to use support here and be able to go higher. So if it continues, great. I don't know why I pull up SPY on this. I thought it was on my other charts. There we go. Qs here. Following a fib retracement. Yeah, it's probably a golden pocket area. But you get through those zones, that's where you really see something crazy. You see how it's a really low percentage chance stuff, but if you're right, you only have to be right once and you can make a ton of money, right? It's like, you know, if GME hit $100, I would probably take a day off. Let's put it that way. Any advice on when to sell? I mean, me personally, I can tell you what I do and see if it fits for you, but I like to use weekly expected moves, monthly expected moves. Even sometimes I'll use a daily expected move, but very rarely. Weekly and monthly expected moves, or what's my goal for the trade? Jari, I want to ask you a question. When you take a trade, is there a goal in mind for how much you would like to make before you get to target? If I made a target, if I was long here and my target was here, but here is where we get to, and I make maybe double my money, was the goal to double my money? Like, is that enough money to convince me, hey, that's enough? And if you're going to read the book, which is just I'm just changing how we talk about things a tiny bit here. It's a lot of the time it's like, when is enough enough, which is great because it's in that Psychology of Money book and it's something we talk about. And it's something that I talked about in my behavior. If I see an amount of money that I like, I use that as a reason to sell a lot of the time. Right? So I'll use that as a reason to sell as well. So even if I do not get to target, but I like the money amount or I feel bad about the trade, right? I have a gut feeling, something. Anything that I feel bad about and I'm in profit, I'm going for it, taking it. Yeah, I don't know why the mic's been so funky today. It keeps like glitching in the soundboard here. Well, soundboard, but the streaming service. Unfortunate. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'll try to fix it, but I don't see, I didn't change anything. So it's just weird. Very weird. So yeah, as far as taking profit goes, I like to use these purple lines and these yellow lines, and that's it, right? I short maybe, right? If you short here, hey, awesome. I have a yellow line down here. If I take longs here, I can look at my yellow line for the next month, say April, and if that comes out to about 520 for the Qs, okay, then I'm probably targeting 520, or when I like the amount of money that is there. Or if I get or if I see a reversal signal before then, or if I get a gut feeling that I just am not comfortable in the trade. There's all kinds of reasons. I try to give myself a ton of reasons to say enough is enough. I'm making my money. What the fuck is wrong with this mic, man? You live by it all the time, or do you get greedy? You're going to get greedy some of the times. Jari, we're humans. We're not going to be able to be perfect. You think 100% of the time I take profit and don't experience a loss? That's impossible. I'm a human. Humans make mistakes. If I was perfect, then I probably would have never even had a YouTube channel. I'd probably be on a yacht somewhere with all my rich money, right? I'm not there. I'm growing the slow way and doing it this way, right? Because if I was 100% right, I'd be a billionaire. 100%, I would be a billionaire. If you were 100% right about market moves, you could be a billionaire easily. Does Jeff Bezos have a YouTube channel? You know, Jari, that's the truth. I like my growth and I'm hoping to get to better levels in life than now Do I want to be a billionaire? No. Would I like to maybe be a millionaire one day? Yes. It's easy to win if you never lose. Yeah, Toronto. Oh man. Show me the trading account that's never lost, and I'll show you someone that's made a new trading account and has another one with a lot of losses. I'm in profit on GME, but think it can run to 34. Well, it just depends on the goal with the trade. GME's goal with the trade could be totally different. GME's goal with the trade could be a part of the squeeze. If you want to make money off of the trade, okay, then make your money. But at the same time, you could be like, I could also just break even and then ride that thing. And if a squeeze happens, it's pretty much free to me. No, but Jeff has a badass yacht. That's what I'm saying. People with that kind of money, they're not going to be streaming and doing time like that. They are in control of their time. They go spend it doing way more fun things. Like that's all there is to it. So good thing is we built a relationship here. So if I ever become a billionaire, I'll at least put out YouTube videos, like 3 a week, okay? If I became a billionaire, I would just be like, all right, here's all the information everyone needs that I used. Here you go. I would literally just give it to everyone. Because people are people and people will fail because we have things like greed. So my goal is like pretty much with GME and AMC, I'm just like, all right, be a part of it in case a squeeze happens. If a squeeze never happens, I don't really care. If a squeeze does happen, hey, I have my levels I want to sell at. I know it's crazy, but one of those levels is 76 for AMC. The other level is just $100 for GME. The 76 one would be the might be the billionaire play. No. No, not that much. Wait, but that's cheating. It's cheating to just buy the thing and then sit there and then wait and see it hit $100, maybe even in 5 years, and be like, "Oh, sick, that was cool." It's just like my Dogecoin play. I mentioned that like yesterday. It's exactly the same as my Dogecoin play from way back in the day. I didn't even know that Dogecoin was seeing good things. Thankfully, I had finally re-downloaded Twitter and I read something and I go, why is Dogecoin trending? And then I went and looked and I go, holy crap, I need to go get that wallet. It's stuck in a computer that doesn't work. Like, that's not good. I mean, AMC's got plenty of, hills to get past, I would say. I think they have, like, AMC has some very clear hills to get past. That 370. You look at downside moves, $4. $4 probably pretty big. 437 was our old level that we wanted to hold from back in the day. That would take you back above the 200. I think that would be a good thing to get above. But ultimately, you look where most of the wicks came in. Hey, they came in where, right? I think we only had like one closing bar above the price point of 550. You have one. So I would say 550 is probably more important than 437. Oh, sorry, 550, right? I would say that level is important. And then we just marked off kind of this level in here for 739. But once you see that kind of price action, I think this thing will be gearing up already. I think you'll kind of blow past those levels. GME already getting past 1, just get past 2, and you could go to 3, you could go to 4, you could go to, well, it depends on if it just continues. So I'd be making sure a 30-minute stays curled up in a positive territory and know that it can gap up the next day. SPY here, just 30-minute getting down by that center line. Nothing crazy to worry about, very controlled. I mean, that was the play for all of 2024, was slowly accumulate at lower levels, right? Time is your friend. Time is your best friend when it comes to holding a stock. If you can hold a stock forever and you don't need that money, it's great, right? That's your investment. That could happen, right? Awesome. Options, time can be with you for a little bit and then totally against you towards the end. So options are much more sensitive to time crunches. AMC needs to sell more popcorn. AMC needs to do a lot. And I think Snow White didn't really help. Snow White didn't really help, did it? It kind of hurt, didn't it? AMC and GME are what Blockbuster used to be. What do you mean by the question, Lion? Blockbuster failed, so I'm just wondering what the actual context of the question, because there's a couple ways to read into that. We're going down, down, and then we'll turn it around. Hopefully. Amazon, come on, baby. Do something crazy. Do something crazy. As in, are they going obsolete? As far as my behavior right now, I really like having tangible things. I actually started buying physical copies of games and stuff like that again, but it really depends on what they actually do. Do I think that their GameStop stores are going to be their big thing that makes them tons of money for years and years now? I don't think so. So, in one sense, possibly, because Blockbuster doesn't have stores anymore. But it doesn't mean that a company can't adapt. And that's what I think GME is in a great position to do. AMC is more in the position of a Blockbuster risk moment than GME, I think. Right? Because AMC doesn't have the cash on hand. So AMC is much more at risk of seeing just if people do not show up for movies, if all the movies suck, then nobody goes to AMC. That's why Snow White is actually a very bad thing for AMC. Right? But AMC can make other moves, right? Making movies with AI could be something that AMC dips into. There are adaptable things they can do. We just haven't seen them do those things. So I think if you're looking at one that's at more risk of seeing a blockbuster-like moment where they become obsolete, I would more so say AMC is on more of that path if you're paying attention to that risk. I wouldn't be able to put a percentage behind it. People are showing up to movies more, things are improving, so it's kind of going the other way on it right now. But they're not in the place with cash to really be able to adapt seriously if something would happen. Robert works for Blockbuster. Dude, I used to go to Blockbuster all the time. Or like Family Video or something like that. Used to try to sneak into that room with like the curtain or whatever. I don't know what was ever in there, but I always wanted to know. I never figured it out. What's in that room in the back behind the curtain at like Blockbusters and stuff like that? I don't know. My parents never let me go in there, and I was like, that must be the scary movie place. Oh, I'm not pressuring you at all. I think you could totally make your money just being a trader. You know, YS? I think you totally do that. YS doesn't want to mess with that stuff at all. That's fine. I like messing with it. I think it's fun. Why was Snow White so bad? Are you asking why it was so bad for AMC, or are you asking like why was it so bad? It was apparently just a terrible movie. Yeah. The box office was terrible. It was like the worst in Disney's history. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, you turned Snow White, who is known as Snow White because her skin was as white as snow, into nothing like Snow White. And then the only reason it wasn't as woke as it could have been. Imagine if all the trolls, which is very rude to do, make like, gay and trans people into trolls and things like that, or dwarfs. I feel like that's kind of rude, first of all. Um, Very rude in some way, right? I'm offended personally, but I'm just saying, like, you kind of ruined it from the get go. And that's unfortunate. I didn't even make it though. I make it. I didn't watch it. So a lot of the time, I like to watch things before I judge them. That one, I'm gonna believe that the less than $50 million it made across the world is probably a good sign. 1.7 on IMDb. And what do the actresses do? They come out and they offend the critics. They bash the audience. Smart move. Good luck getting a job. Yes, I've watched interviews of her. She is a brat. That's the best way to put it. She is a brat. And, our education system's so flawed, man. I don't know. Maybe that's the part to do with it. Who is the lady who played Snow White? No ill blood, no ill stuff towards her. I'm just like, you're acting like a brat. We can call someone something if it's true, and I'm perfectly comfortable with that. Apple actually still holding. That's kind of wild. Tesla, not bad. Ooh, looking at Tesla, and then I gotta hop off. It's 10:20. I gotta go. Tesla remaining above the weekly expected move. Okay, so this is great stuff. This is really, really good. And we'll see if this pullback needs to continue for the SPY, right? Pullback mode, looks like we were right to pay attention to that. This could be all the pullback you get. Seriously, this could be, but we are acknowledging that if I was taking positions, what am I doing? I finally was able to take that position for a further amount out that I'm more comfortable holding through if this week we did experience something really bad, or maybe just to pull back to fill that gap and see something good to the upside. Note that if we make a move outside of the monthly, it's very likely to still end in that monthly expected move by Monday. So just be aware of that. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you want to join us over on Rumble, we're having some fun over there. It was a lot of fun yesterday. Just show up at least an hour before the close, and you can come hang out with us and watch Power Hour, where big money is usually making their decisions. But we will be live most likely even 30 minutes before that if you want to show up a little bit early. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope some of you have the time to join us over on Rumble. You can just look up Money Making Market over on Rumble, and I'm pretty sure we'll pop up for you. So thank you guys. Have a great one. Manage risk. Think about your trades and how you are going to adapt your plan from this point forward. And let's get it, all right? Peace out.